Yeah. That was the best advice I've had in a long time.
A voice calling from within our core.
What are we here for? We realize that our power lies
And how we live our lives.
and how we choose to show up.
So we choose to show up as rooted crowns. And this is our living prayer. Birth from the earth.
On a path to reclaim our name.
Nature, ancestral medicine to heal our home. We sow this prayer in our bodies between many hands and upon our land.
In direct response to self-hate, forced scarcity, and climate change.
But it's simple for real. We plant food forests and concrete jungles.
Inspiring youth to lead us out this struggle.
Nourishing our bodies as living proof.
Sharing all we do to amplify this truth.
Yeah, we documenting it all.
Bringing it to you so you can feel this call in person, online.
Yeah, we standing tall, rooted crowns. Let's rock with it, y'all. And we're heading out.
Alright, y'all.
Rain or shine, we gonna do this.
We gonna do this. Say hey to Jabari and Treasure.
Welcome to the channel.
Welcome to the channel. We out here in this rain on our way to P.A. Bowen Farmstead. P.A. Bowen Farmstead is owned by Sally Fallon Morrell, who is the founder and potentially the president of the Weston A. Price Foundation, which I be talking about all the time. The foundation that talks about nourishing traditions, traditionally way of eating, scientifically sound way of eating, common sense way of eating. So check that out and come along with the ride to see Sally Fallon's farm. It's interesting. I'm curious. Pick up your coat. Hey! Yes! You made it! Hi! How are you? Good. Okay. We have some in ponchos. We have ponchos for anyone if they need it.
Slow down because we're just at the edge of the storm.
Beautiful. That'd be awesome.
And it starts inside.
Right. Okay.
Dash over to the barn.
All right. Let's follow Sally Fallon. Am I gonna be the only geek here because no one else knows her? It smells good in here.
It does. So we are standing in a tobacco barn, and in the olden days, a lot of tobacco grew here. It was considered the best tobacco land in the world, right here. They sold a brand of cigarettes in Europe called Maryland cigarettes, and it said low tar tobacco.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's tobacco.
Oh, this is not to tell you all to smoke. This is not a.
No, I'm not telling you to smoke. But, you know, for those who do smoke, it was a good tobacco to smoke.
Right.
Because it was not as toxic.
Indeed.
And they always said, well, now that tobacco's gone, because they paid the farmers not to plant it anymore. We're going to find another crop down here because tobacco paid really well. You could raise a family with the income from tobacco on 10 acres.
Wow.
So it really paid well. But they never did get anything to replace it. They grow corn and soybeans down here. It's all genetically modified. It's all sprayed. And the farmers don't make any money on that. So we're trying to show a different way where you have the integrated different species of animals. You do what we call value added. So you're not just selling the milk, you're making cheese with it. And that raises the price you can get. Same with our pork. We don't just sell pigs. We make it the sausage and bacon and so forth. And just the appreciation for what we do without any chemicals and without any soy or GMOs, that raises the value too. That's what we're trying to do. So come on over and have a seat. The Department of Agriculture thinks that what we're doing is just silly. It's not economical. There's no reason for it. The food we produce is expensive, so that's not good. And so we don't get any support from the government on what we're trying to do. But the problem is when you raise your animals like that inside, give them a lot of chemicals, hormones to make them grow really fast. You know what? You eat those things too. If they're giving them soy, and soy is a very toxic plant that causes thyroid problems and things like gender confusion. When you eat animals fed with this soy, you're eating those things too. So what we feed the animals is really important. So we are a mixed species. We're pasture-based, which means that our animals are outside all the time, unless they're very young or it's very cold. We are not certified, but we do biodynamic and organic methods, so we don't use any hormones, herbicides, pesticides, antibiotics. We don't use anything like that, and we don't need to because of the way we raise our animals. So we're all these old-fashioned things. We think modern technology is pretty neat. We think it's neat to have hot water. We think it's pretty neat to have electric fencing. We think it's pretty neat to have the internet and email and cell phones, things like that. So let's face it, this kind of farming in the old days was really hard work. It was dirty, it was lonely, and the young people couldn't wait to get off the farm and go in the city and be clean and modern. And who can blame them? But now we have all this wonderful technology that allows you to live on the farm in complete comfort and totally connected to the outside world. So a lot of young people want to come back to farming. And that's a good thing because the average age of farmer in Maryland, anyone want to guess?
55?
59.
59.
Wow. Yeah. That's a crisis. We need young people to come into farming. So we're trying to make this attractive for young people.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen a movie or video of buffalo on the prairie? What are they doing? They're eating, they're grazing, and they're moving, right? We say they're doing the 4 M's: mowing, mobbing, manuring, and
Moving.
Now, what we do with our technology, not with us, but modern farming does with technology, it uses your technology to put your animals inside and keep them still and brings food to them, right? But we're using technology, namely electric fencing, to imitate what those buffalo do, moving across the prairie. And they eat all the grass, they leave their urine and manure, they rough up the ground with their hooves, and if we left them there any length of time, we'd have a muddy mess full of flies and smells. But that's not what we do. We use that electric fencing to move our cows at least once a day and sometimes twice a day or even 3 times a day. So we're imitating the buffalo on the prairie.
With the grass that you use, is it multiple species of grass? Like, do you have...
Yes, indeed. A very good question. We've seeded the whole farm with a lot of different types of perennial grasses.
Okay.
Perennial means it keeps coming up. Okay. The same with clovers. So this kind of grazing works really well for beef cows, but for dairy cow, not so much. We found that we had to give a little bit of grain to our dairy cows, otherwise they got really skinny. So we do give a little grain when we're milking them. But that grain there's no corn or soy or no GMOs in it. It's sorghum, barley, and field peas.
Nice.
And a bunch of vitamins and minerals. And we grind that ourselves.
When you said you give 20% of the milk to the calves, does that mean that the cow produces a lot more milk than
the calf needs.
Than the calf needs?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The old saying about the cow is she has 4 teats. One is for the cow, one is for the people on the farm, one is for the animals on the farm, and one is for the public.
Wow, so
That's how they used to think of it.
the cow is really taking care of everybody.
Yes.
I mean, because when you think of it, I could have babies for triplets. I mean, milk for, not for triplets.
Weston Price called the cow the foster mother of mankind.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I feel it's one of them babies.
He's being fussy, baby.
He's being fussy?
He's being fussy, baby. Oh, is that a little black umbrella? Yeah. It's treasures.
I love community. It's like, whoa, I recognize this architecture from my past life. Yeah, it's not raining.
It's raining a little.
It's not raining. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And
Why
it
they
causes
get people
thyroid problems and causes endocrine disruption. It's got estrogen in it.
I realize that, but there are a lot of cultures who depend on soy.
No, they use soy as a flavoring or a condiment, usually a teaspoon a day, but it's not their main source of protein. In Japan, the main source of protein is fish, and in China, it's pork and duck. So they're just eating a bit of soy sauce or tiny little bits of tofu, but they're not eating it to sustain themselves. And you have to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Well, 80% of the oil used in processed food is soybean oil. So for the chips and the fries and all the cakes and cookies and everything. And when they squeeze out the oil, they have this sludge left with a lot of protein in it. And they figured out how to take the protein out of the sludge, a very high temperature process.
Is that soy protein isolate?
Yeah, and then they manipulate it in ways to make it resemble food, but it's not food.
Right. Well, the Whole Foods just came out with an article, or maybe it was a speech that was given where they admitted, okay, we know that this meat substitutes are not healthy.
That's
We
right,
sell
they
them
did.
anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't get the link. A girlfriend of mine wanted to send me the link, but I had never heard them express that
Yeah.
before. But yeah, it's always been known that the more you process something, the better, the less.
The Impossible Burger is genetically modified soy.
Great. Okay.
It stinks?
It smells like animal. Come on, y'all. Just
It
breathe.
doesn't stink, it smells like cows.
It doesn't breathe. Just breathe for a second and calm down.
Do you want your jacket?
So, what goes on in here?
This is the milk.
What's in here?
Y'all remember from the video?
This is where the cows get milked. The ladies come in the morning, that's why we call it a parlor. Every morning, you have to milk cows every morning. You can't miss a day or they'll stop producing milk.
Oh, wow.
We only milk once a day, and our cows are used to that. Most cows get milked twice a day. We milk once a day, and it actually turns out that when we milk once a day, there's more cream in our milk, so it's a lot of butter fat. It's really creamy. Has anyone here ever milked a cow?
Just once.
I don't think I've had.
So you were on the side of the cow in a little pool. Hard work, isn't it?
Yes.
Very hard on the back and the legs. Well, this way, the cows come up, they're facing this way, and it's very comfortable. We don't have to sit down. Also, when you milk on the side of a cow, it's very dangerous because cows kick sideways.
Oh, they kick sideways and they kick backwards like horses.
You could get your teeth kicked out.
Oh my god.
Okay?
Can I ask, do you raise goats as well?
No.
No? Okay.
Goats are a lot more difficult to maintain in the same space.
Pork.
Do you use the
And then like
chicken?
goat
You use the chicken
cultures
and the
are
turkey
generally
to
like
pick
herders
apart
that
the
move
poop after the
like,
cows.
go to
You
the
do
west
that? That's so
to be
cool. I love that.
nomadic.
Okay. Let's go.
Like even sheep.
It's been,
You're not gonna do that. Make sure you don't scratch your foot, girl. Perfect now.
I like them both out.
Those are the layers, and that little house is called Eggmobile. And they're hiding now because it's raining, but when they come out, they will, someone's asking about the cow patties. Those chickens will scratch through the cow patties and spread the manure for us. So that's their job. Yeah, they eat the bugs.
Yeah, this is so beautiful.
They do not have personal space.
This is the milking machine.
Does that hurt them at all?
No, it's actually designed to be very gentle. It's actually slower than most milking machines.
Yeah, okay.
You want to put your finger in there? It's really soft.
Oh yeah, it is soft.
I was a goat herder, a shepherd. And, part of the job was also like milking, but I didn't not like that process. It was twice a day.
Yeah.
And then
And-
Goats.
Yes, it was goats. You know, we would take them in the pasture on the hillside and then bring them back into these barns that were really confined where they would sleep at night and they would get, you know, they get milk twice a day and it just seemed aggressive. I don't know, like the milking machines seemed really
It's hard to
aggressive.
milk a goat.
Yeah.
Cows are much easier.
It's coming out. Hey!
That timing's perfect. Rain stop.
Exactly.
This is why we really want to get him to do this when he's really young, so he's just like, hey,
But I want them to have perspective of, because everything is not true. Everything
Right.
that's said about veganism is not true. Just like everything that's said about, carnivorous,
Right.
Get perspective
From all.
type of experience.
So just a quick going over, this is how we butcher the chickens. We turn them upside down. They pass out. They're unconscious.
oh, okay.
Or we cut their throats.
Yeah. And can I say, in nature, when the chicken is killed, it's ripped to pieces, and it's usually conscious, right? Like, so the way that the chickens are killed in this method is humane, because it's giving them a much more peaceful death, and they take care of the chickens and feed them, so they don't have to worry about predators their whole lives. So they're given a luxurious life, and they're killed peacefully. It's called
Very
reciprocity.
good. And then we scald them. And then they go into this thing.
Put them
that
in hot
spins
water.
Around. Yeah, and this is where the feathers come.
Oh, you don't have to pluck the feathers yourself.
No. And then we take the meat off. We sell it as a meat for making broth.
Right, yeah, we've been trying that.
Good.
Have you ever got chicken broth to turn upside down and stay there? Or is it
Only if I cook it with a fork. Big
Right.
one.
told you can do it with chicken?
Oh,
When
okay.
it's all, this is where we
She asked about
immediately
chicken,
put them into
chicken
an ice
broth.
bath.
Like, you know, it gets
This is where we take out the
mucilaginous.
guts and the liver and all that.
So she asked if she did it with the broth and then refrigerated.
And then this, we turn them
Yeah,
over.
because I've seen Carol. Yeah, she particularly uses a lot of pork.
They go right in
it's a daughter.
cold storage. So
yeah,
we
go ahead.
our chickens are really fresh. We don't have any storage here, and they're cold by 40 minutes after you kill them. So they're always really fresh.
It licked you? Yeah. We're gonna go see pigs, y'all.
Pigs? Pigglins?
Yeah. But hey, okay. Like they're growing some tomatoes over in that greenhouse.
Yeah.
Wow.
A pig.
Back there too.
Those are chunky pigs.
Chunky pigs in the forest. They dig their own swimming pool, she said.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
No,
So, she
no,
said,
actually, don't smell anything.
Yeah, I don't smell nothing.
babies need,
It's not. It's.
babies need cholesterol and zinc and iron. Babies need cholesterol and zinc and iron. And they need cholesterol because they can't make their own yet. And you know you can't get cholesterol in coconuts. Yeah. We're talking about the baby for their first foods. They need iron because they don't have enough iron stored up, and they're not going to make it. And I didn't know what else. And Sally Fine just told me they need cholesterol, and they also
don't
need
make
zinc and
cholesterol, and they need
magnesium.
cholesterol for
And
their
cholesterol
brain
you
and
can't get from vegetable sources.
There's no cholesterol in vegetables.
There's no cholesterol in vegetables.
Right.
Eggs are
Right,
the highest
but the-
cholesterol food.
But the body can convert things into cholesterol or produce its own.
Later, when you're an
Later
adult,
on.
you can make your own cholesterol.
When you
don't have to.
overdo it, then that's when people have problems with high cholesterol, right?
Well, but
We gotta talk.
yeah, we just did this in our last video
There's
actually.
high cholesterol.
There's no such
The
thing.
whole thing is a complete scam.
Really?
Developed by the pharmaceuticals to sell the cholesterol medicine, and the food industry that makes so much more money on plant foods than animal foods. It is a scam, and it's destroying us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that you make out of cholesterol is hormones like estrogen, testosterone. Do you want to live with a man who can't make testosterone?
I absolutely do not.
Of course. So don't try to lower his cholesterol. You give him eggs and butter and meat and liver, and you'll have a real man.
Yeah, that was the best advice I've had in a long time.
It's like they talk about the LDL and the what's the other one? HDL, and like one of the cholesterols is going to the liver, and one's going from the liver.
One takes
And
cholesterol
they point at one and say when that's high, it's bad.
And that's just a
It has no connection
The science
to
is just
actual.
not
Are y'all listening?
cholesterol.
Don't you heal wounds with cholesterol?
Yes, you heal wounds. You make feel-good chemicals.
Right, serotonin.
If cholesterol fights cancer.
Animal foods give you cholesterol. So these are my vegan-born children.
Going on
and so-
vegetarian.
vegetarian now, but been vegan since birth. And so these concepts, even for me, that's why I'm like, it's a whole new dynamic.
There is no
So-
traditional people who were vegan
Oh,
or
I
even
know.
vegetarian.
I know that. I know that.
We made friends. I've noticed in like some of the feast, the poop,
Yeah.
that it looks like there's some undigested
Yes,
grains.
I was noticing that too. I don't like that.
So maybe it's
We
a
need to
kind
soak it longer.
Sweet potatoes, some salmon, and yeah, just like canned salmon. There's this canned salmon, like I just stirred it up in the this morning.
You gotta teach me how to do this canned salmon. I don't like rather like the dough with like
Oh, for real? Canned salmon is just like when we want something quick and cheap. Oh,
hilarious.
Let's chase them. Yeah, I wanna get chased by ducks.
Goose.
Yeah, those are geese. How you liking being on the farm, Jafari?
It's cool. Chill.
It's chill, right?
Nice time, huh? Probably gotta come out here and do some fun things.
Yeah, I can see you having your own farm one day,
Yes, sir.
taking care of animals, living out on the land, building your own structures. I can see it.
Yeah. And
What do you think? What do you
Yeah,
think?
you gonna get it done.
Let's do it, bro. Yo, when we land some land. Yo, check out these turkeys. These geese. Whoa. Whoa, these turkeys are tripping.
Can you imagine being able to run with these bad boys every day?
Y'all don't attack Sally Fallon. Good job, Lev. You're a turkey shepherd. You're a turkey whisperer. You hear that like, oh no.
You ain't going.
Woo! And they all gurgle or whatever together. It's just like, it's weird. Like,
Romema.
and the chorus says,
There we go.
yay.
Yeah,
Farmstead.
we have an Airbnb in the basement.
Oh, nice.
Wait, on the basement? I don't like
Oh, we could stay at Telly for hotels.
Wait,
Okay, I'm stop being a nerd. Yeah. Over here. Okay, we made it back. Oh yes, thank you. What's your name? Ife. Spelled I-F-E. Ife.
No, this is all you, baby.
Thank you so much, Sally. For
Oh,
giving
you're
us the
welcome.
tour. Check out her work. Please check out Westmade Christ Foundation.
It's pretty. He's like a little low.
And yeah, and check out all her books. Yeah, like just put this book that she just gifted us.
I'd say
All right,
All right,
everybody
thank you so
say
much,
bye,
Sally.
Sally.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Uncle Lev, you got something to drink? He wants milk.
thought it was raining. It's a little sprinkles here and there, but sun shower.
Survive, but also to reclaim the dignity that was lost. Treasure.
Where's Aura and Aria?
Yeah.
Hi.
You're beautiful. Your book fell out.
Nice.
I gotta jump.
1, 2, 3.
And that's. All right, there we have it. P.A. Bowen Farmstead. Sorry, Baltimore. I'm such a geek. And
This was really awesome. This was really a success. We came here driving through the pouring rain, and it turned into a sun shower, which turned into sunshine.
sunshine.
We just got our sweat on, got the rhythms on,
Yeah.
moved our bodies.
Ate some delicious food.
Yes, feasted.
Yes, and just, yeah, had a great time, learned a lot. And let us know if you learned anything new.
I mean, there's so much to build on this topic of food sovereignty, land sovereignty, self-sufficiency, sustainability,
Land animal management,
regenerative practices. So, you know, we just want to find other people to build and like build community around
nurturing land.
these practices. Because any community that's not dependent on each other for our livelihood, our survival, you know,
Ain't a community.
it's not a real community. It's a feel-good group of people, you know, and you might get certain support like that, you know, comes from just having a group of people, but you know, human beings depend on each other for our survival. We focus on our necessities. We focus on the things that matter most, and making sure that, you know, that we can take that back into our own hands, along with our healing practices, along with
Our culture.
our culture. Yeah, bringing culture back into this arena. You know, so many times we have our urban farms here, our agricultural farms there, our, you know, culture is like limited to the cities now. You know, where like it's almost a commodity. Culture's become a commodity, and that's not real culture. Real culture is living in connection with nature,
Yeah,
with
and each other.
and the development of, and evolution of a people.
Yeah.
So
So let's talk about this more. Let us know if you're interested in building. Let us know if you enjoyed this video. Give us a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos. Follow us on Patreon for perks and extras and support of our work. And yeah, thanks for watching. All right, peace. Okay, so I just want to address this whole geek thing that happened. This is not my norm. If I see a celebrity, someone who's famous because they are pretty or they've been on a lot of TV shows, I could care less, trust me. But when I meet someone who made the kind of impact that Sally Fowler Morell did, I obviously find myself tongue-tied and goofy, because I just want to communicate that she really is a powerful person, and I feel all of human history, or at least all of this experience that we're having right now in human history, because right now we're having this epidemic of industrial oil companies impacting, taking over so many things, from governments to universities to doctors to all these different places, and they're convincing us that it's okay to be plant-based because it makes them more profit, and to eat vegetable oils because it makes them more profit. So many things about this whole trend of veganism and plant-based being is by way of them, whereas through most of history, most villages definitely consume some animal products, and many only consume mostly animal products or completely animal foods. And so it's really normal for us to eat animal foods, but at some point the industrial companies convinced so much of the Western world that we are bad when we eat meat and we're better when we eat vegetables.
And much of the traditional world as well, indigenous world,
Yeah.
convince them, you know.
Yeah, they're starting to convince much of the indigenous world too. Now we can't even, like you saw in our last video, hopefully, if you haven't, go and check it out. We can't even get traditional food nowadays without worrying about soy oil or canola oil or something. Whereas before, everything was cooked in ghee and palm oil and all these really good fats for you. We've been convinced that saturated fats and cholesterol is bad for you. And Sally Fallon is one of the few people who challenged it in a way that was easy for people to read. So whereas before it was doctors and dentists and scientists, she took it as a mother and a grandmother and made a cookbook out of it and communicated these ideas in a way that people could understand. And so if you follow almost any of the people who are ex-vegan or ethical omnivores or carnivores, they almost always reference Weston A. Price Foundation, because what the work that Weston A. Price did was pivotal. So I mean, if I would have met him, I'm sure I would have been the same. But what Sally Fallon did was she brought it into the world in a way that no one else did, at least. I'm not going to say no one else could, but no one else did. And so for that reason, I'm really grateful to her. And I'm awestruck by the power and the confidence and the audacity she had to put herself out there in a way that was, like she wrote in the book, the subline of the book is politically incorrect nutrition. So yeah, I'm grateful to have met her, and I'm proud that I geeked out.